23. I always struggle with stock suspension. It never feels very good. So with that said, I really like this bike, and I was a little bit bummed when I was watching all the Swap Moto Live, Bike Shootout, and the others that were saying that I couldn't really get the front end right on this bike. And definitely there's a couple things that make it different. And so first thoughts, it is fast. The power is really usable, but it pulls and pulls and pulls. That's one thing I've really noticed, is it just, man, it doesn't sound like it's like barking really hard, but it is pulling, and it's smooth, but it just keeps pulling. So I really like that. The 21 modded out was a little more violent, and it would pull pretty good. But this one's a little smoother, yet faster, and just keeps pulling. As far as turning goes, I love it. It is incredible. Already I'm like trying to have to get out of bad habits that I don't know if they're bad habits, they're the habits I had to develop to turn the 21. And I was pretty good at turns on the 21. But you really have to lean it. You really have to fight it in the corners to get it to do that. And so I'm having to undo the hundreds of hours on my turn track. I'm trying to get the 21 to turn, and I'm oversteering this one. So that's one thing that I've really noticed, is it turns and it corrects like what I'm already like trying to, just be a little bit off. It just goes, hey, I got you. Sit back up, man, and go. So I really like that. But I am blowing through the suspension right now. I'm almost maxed out on the clickers, and still bottoming in some spots, mostly where you jump down into big holes. If I jump down into a big hole, like, I just have to brace for impact, so it's gonna hit hard. And it does feel a little bit less stable, for sure. But it's nothing that I don't think I can't get tuned out, if that makes sense. Like, with suspension getting dialed a little bit better. Overall, my thoughts, love the bike. It is really nice. Day one, feeling good. I'm getting arm pump because I'm not comfortable, but I'm getting more comfortable. I just did a 10-lap race pace, and felt pretty good. So we'll keep riding it, but those are the first quick thoughts. And I just got done, and final thoughts, I really like the 23. It is definitely a different bike, but in the deep rutted corners, it just turns really well, and just wants to stay in the rut. And it feels, kind of reminds me of the old days of when I used to ride a CR125 and a CR80 Expert. Like, I don't know, those bikes just, to me, turned really well. This 450 is the best turning Yamaha I've ever ridden. Definitely best turning YZ450 I've ever ridden. The power is really good. Just, I don't know, man. There's like nothing you needed to do to it. I have a slip-on FMF silencer on it, and that's it. I couldn't imagine needing to do anything else to this motor for my level. The only thing is the suspension definitely beat me up today. It is too soft. I have the front forks all the way clicked in and the back shock nearly all the way. Turned the low speed nut a half a turn as well, trying to get some more out of it. And then I had about 101 millimeter sag, and then I ended up going to maybe just a little less than that. I think I did about a whole turn on the spring, probably around there. I was between 101 and like 103. It was kind of hard to get a good measurement by myself, just Gabe and I. And so I did one more turn on the spring for that, and it did feel better. It felt like it put a little bit more pressure on the front end, which seemed to help that track a little bit. But I was still just like hitting and then bouncing and not staying connected to the ground super well, and just couldn't send it into things without really feeling like just you're gonna hit really hard. But I think for I don't know, the average rider, I think they got it pretty good. It'd probably be a pretty sweet setup for the average rider right out of the box. I mean, probably wouldn't have to do a whole lot. Anyhow, you know how when you first ride a new bike and it feels so foreign, you're like, man, is this the right choice? I was so comfortable in my 21. I really feel like, man, I'm gonna really grow with this 23. And once I get the suspension dialed on it, it is going to be really good. The only other complaint I have is the front brakes. I don't know if it's like Cosmoline on the disc or what, but they just don't work very good right now. And I kept spraying them with carb cleaner because that's all I had at the track to try to clean them off. But they feel like that. They feel like they got a little oil on them. And they're getting better out throughout the day. But definitely I think I was getting a little bit of arm pump because I was having to squeeze the front brakes so hard. So that was the only other complaint I had. Other than that, super pleased with the bike. I look forward to getting more and more at home with it. There's a vet rider's perspective. See ya.